So, I wanted to do this video, and this is a video that I feel like a lot of people are going to dislike, especially if you're like a hardcore Xbox fan. I have to be real, and, I'm sure that it's probably going to cost me a few subs, and people are going to dislike what I have to say. But please, if you're an Xbox fan, do not put your head in the sand right now. Okay, like that's what I'm seeing so many Xbox fans do. You guys are accepting, like, if you're an Xbox fan, I'm gonna guess you're an Xbox console fan, right? Like me, I'm an Xbox console fan. I couldn't care less about the other nonsense. I just don't, man. I don't care about the PC. I don't care about their cloud. I don't care about any of this other stuff. So again, Microsoft and Phil Spencer is talking, so that's how you can usually tell that someone's lying. And this is very interesting because Microsoft even talks about their new exclusivity strategy. And again, he mentions a pivot specifically, right? So people that thought that it was just the 4 or 5 games, I've got news for you. It's way worse than that. Phil Spencer basically just confirmed that there aren't going to be exclusives. So obviously, through its acquisition of multiple blockbusters like Minecraft and Call of Duty over the years, Xbox was already a major publisher on PlayStation and Nintendo consoles. But in February, Microsoft delivered an Xbox business update which confirms plans to bring more games to rival platforms, initially in the form of Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded. Now, discussing this strategy shift in an interview, Xbox boss Phil Spencer said ballooning development budgets were making exclusives harder to justify. He said it can cost $300 million to build a video game these days, and the case for exclusivity gets pressured as the cost of the game goes up. Spencer also said in a bid to stay relevant with younger consumers was contributing to the decision to make more Xbox games available on as many platforms as possible. He said, and I quote, "This notion that Xbox can only be this one device that plugs into a television isn't something we see in the Gen Z research because nothing else is like that for them." So, first of all, I want to just stop them right there, and I'll get back to his interview. So, he's blaming Gen Z and going, okay, well, nothing else is like that for them. But here's the thing. Gen Z is spending the least amount of money on stuff, right? And you're going to try to get them as opposed to somebody like me who spends thousands and thousands of dollars on your games and hardware. Like Phil Spencer, when he talks lately, he seems so like pissed off at, that these things aren't working. Like I don't know how he thought putting games on PlayStation was going to work for them. Like, but their sales are tanking and they'll continue to tank. Like, I don't understand how he didn't realize this. So anyway, he says some of them will have an iPhone, some of them will have an Android, but all the games and everything is the same. I can still get to TikTok on both of them, at least for now. All their stuff is available wherever they want. So for Xbox, our brand pivot as we attract and maintain relevance with a younger audience is Xbox is a place where I can find great games that I want to. So Xbox is no longer an Xbox. And like, I know people are going to go, oh, well, that was obvious. We knew that. But Xbox should be and always be a console at the first and foremost, right? Like, I don't understand the thought process behind that not being a thing, right? So that tells you right there that more games are going to go to other places. But comparing your console, what your console's sole purpose realistically is to play video games, with phones whose, have multiple purposes, like being phones, texting your friends, a million different apps and things like that, right? Is silly, okay? Because, yeah, you can get the same apps on an iPhone and an Android, but you can't get the same games on a PlayStation and a Xbox, right? On an Xbox, you can still only get Xbox games and multiplats. On a PlayStation, you can get Xbox games, PlayStation games, multiplats. So, does he not understand that? Like, how do you be a boss of Xbox for 10 years and not understand that? So, clearly, this article continues on with Xbox has reportedly weighed up the idea of releasing Gears of War, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Doom, Starfield, and Indiana Jones on rival consoles. And Phil Spencer said he wouldn't rule out any game going to another platform. He says, I know sometimes things get weaponized, that there's some evil in the background that's making us do things. Phil hates exclusives, and that's why we're like PlayStation and Switch now, according to him. Every decision we make is to make Xbox stronger in the long run. It doesn't mean everyone's going to agree with every decision we make, but it is fundamental with how we make decisions. So, again, that's the funniest damn thing I ever heard in my life, right? So, Xbox clearly no longer means Xbox console players. It means Microsoft shareholders. When you read the sentence in context, it makes a lot of sense. I can't wait for the Xbox App Store on iOS and Android. It's going to make trillions. That's going to make Xbox so much stronger. Wow, I'm going to be so happy. Thanks, Phil. And, let's be honest, there is evil in what's going on. It's, Satya Nadella. He's not a good consumer person. Amy Hood. It's all about that. Fans are turning away from Xbox at a alarming clip, right? It's just a fact of the matter. They are, and he can talk about all this weird stuff that he wants to, but he never talks positively about consoles, right? It's not. They're never going to talk about any kind of consoles. They're never going to do any of that stuff. Every time he talks about consoles, it's how, it's a dead market, it's this, it's that. It's like, well, okay, well then don't freaking do the consoles anymore, Phil. What do you want me to say? Nintendo is going to break the all-time record for console sales. The PlayStation 5 is ahead of the PS4. They're selling 21 million in a year, and Xbox Series X and S is at 22 million lifetime. You screwed up, Phil Spencer. You're part of the problem. And the problem is, replacing Phil Spencer with somebody that's already in-house, like a Sarah Bond, that's Phil Spencer Jr. That's not going to do any good for anyone, right? That's just the truth of the matter. Their whole thing needs to be, and I think it's too late regardless, right? People are like, oh, well, he's talked about bringing Steam over to the Xbox. Okay, PC gamers are not going to ditch their PCs to get an Xbox, right? And consoles are always predicated upon ease of use, right? Like, I see so many idiotic people going, that's the end of the console war. How the hell is that going to be? Would that be the end of the console war? First of all, every game, like the Steam Deck, would have to be certified and allowed on the platform. It also has to be optimized. Then you have the issue with, let's say you have 4 different storefronts on there. How confusing would that be for somebody, man? Somebody just want to play their games. Oops, I bought it on an Epic store instead of Xbox. How does that help Xbox in any way or any meaningful fashion? It's honestly just absolutely ridiculous at this point. The thing, the vitriol, it seems like Phil Spencer hates consoles. It seems like Phil Spencer is angry and bitter that Xbox is doing poorly. Well, Phil, you've spent years telling us that that we don't need to buy your console, and now you're mad because console sales are stagnant. Look, I understand that you need to go beyond console with things. You bought a mobile division, right? Isn't that what's supposed to attract these Gen Zers that aren't spending anything but playing free-to-play games all the time? Like, your arguments, Phil, don't hold water. I'm sorry, and I would say, and I hate to even say that, Phil needs to go, but like I said, for what reason, right? Phil's gone. They're gonna, replace him with Sarah Bond, and the same shit is gonna happen over and over and over again. It blows my mind, to be honest with you. Everybody is always like, and here's the thing, I've been like this as well, right? Here's the thing, right? You have Xbox fans that every time Microsoft is playing chess, not checkers. Microsoft is so far ahead of the game. Microsoft is this. Microsoft is that. Microsoft has never won a console generation. They are never going to win a console generation, right? They've bought the biggest games in the industry and still can't out-earn PlayStation. Like, at some point, where do we just say they are not a good company with good ideas? Like, they have some good ideas sprinkled in, but for the most part, it's going to always be shareholders pushing what they do. I can't. I can't even be on board. Like it's frustrating. I'm sad. I'm depressed about it. It sucks. It sucks. It just really does. I can't believe how far Xbox has fallen. You've got people that are like, oh yeah, Steam store on there would be great, and the Epic store. Hey, yeah, let me navigate through 4 freaking stores. That's just what I want to do, and then mess with settings and all that kind of crap. If I wanted to do that stuff, I would play on a damn PC. I have no desire to play on a PC ever. Or, you know what I'm saying? I like my closed box. You don't get cheaters. You don't get hackers. I don't got to mess with sliders. I don't got to do any of that stuff. I buy my games. They work. Boom. Plug and play. You're good to go. That's it. Okay? Not something like this, which, again, how does this help Xbox? Okay? So people would buy a game through a Steam store. That doesn't help. Like a third-party sale through a Steam store on an Xbox, that doesn't go to Microsoft at all. So I don't understand how that helps Xbox in the least. People aren't going to just get to it. Like, Xbox is doomed, in my opinion. Still, I'll link this. Let me know what you guys think. Rack 'em up.